The March 8th, 2022 board meeting is now in order. I'm happy to welcome my fellow board members and the public. This is a business meeting of the board held in the public. As such, the board is authorized to adopt rules or policies to maintain orderly conduct and proper decorum in a public meeting. Please note that your presence here is subject to those rules and policies. Pursuant to Florida Statute 877.13, it is unlawful and a misdemeanor of the second degree, punishable by up to 60 days in jail and a $500 fine for any person knowingly to disrupt or interfere with the lawful administration or functions of any educational institution or school board, or knowingly to advise, counsel, or instruct any school pupil or school employee to disrupt any school or school board function or activity on school board property. To facilitate board business, please be aware of the following. If you must leave the building for any reason, you will not be permitted to re-enter. The appropriate place for public participation in the meeting is during your individual public comment opportunity as identified in the agenda. Outside of your individual public comment opportunity, your role in the meeting is as an observer. I will ask persons deemed to be knowingly or intentionally disrupting this meeting of the School Board of Brevard County or not complying with policy to stop or leave. If persons receiving the warning choose not to follow my instructions, I'll instruct Brevard County Sheriff's deputies to take any law enforcement action they deem appropriate, and you may be escorted, detained, or arrested depending on the conduct. Persons who refuse to depart after a warning may also be committing the crime of trespassing in accordance with Florida Statute Section 810.05. These statutes apply to conduct on all school board property, which includes this boardroom as well as the outside of this building to the sidewalk. If you continue to cause a disruption, you are advised that you are in violation of Florida State Statute 877.13, or if you fail to leave the premises after being warned by the Sheriff's Office, you are committing trespass, and the board has authorized the Sheriff's Office to enforce these rules. In the event multiple individuals fail to adhere to these expectations and board business cannot continue due to disruption, I will call a recess and request that the law enforcement officers present clear the boardroom of attendees. When the room is cleared, the board will return and resume their meeting with no public present. Those who are signed up to speak will be seated under the front entry area and called in when it is your time to speak. Mr. Gibbs, roll call please.
Ms. Belford?
Present.
Ms. McDougall?
Present.
Mr. Susan?
Here.
Ms. Jenkins?
Present.
Ms. Campbell?
The board will now hold a moment of silent reflection in memory of two BPS students who recently passed away. Bryson Castor, 6th grader from Williams Elementary, and Luciana Wilson, 5th grader from Enterprise Elementary. Our hearts and prayers are with their families. Thank you. Please stand for the pledge.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, I would like to offer my fellow board members and Dr. Mullins an opportunity to recognize students, staff, or members of the community. Who'd like to get us started this evening?
Anyone starting?
Ms. Jenkins?
Yeah, I just want to do a quick thank you to Emma Jewell Charter Academy for inviting me to their Black History Month celebration. It was absolutely incredible. I really appreciated their 6th graders. I think it was 6th graders that were reciting their poetry and their raps. It was really cool to watch. It was really fun. And I also want to thank Stone Middle School and congratulate them for putting on a tremendous community celebration for Black History Month. It was really incredible to walk inside their library. They had a video set up of all the history of Stone Middle, something that I didn't even know, that the last graduating segregated class at Stone Middle, or at the time was Stone High, was 1967, so not that long ago. The history of Melbourne and how it was founded, some really amazing people that have graduated from there. They also had their chorus sing the Black National Anthem, and their culinary students put together some really amazing food and desserts for everybody to enjoy. They also put on a display of what they called the Black Wax Museum, where their students pretended to be wax figures that came to life and educated the community on history's figures. And so thank you so much for that experience. I really appreciated it. And it was really cool to see members of the community coming and visiting Stone to participate in that. So thanks.
Thank you, Ms. Jenkins. Ms. Campbell, you want to go next?
Yes, I will. A few weeks ago, we had the relaunch of the parent leadership team, which is made up of representatives, parent representative from each school in the county. And I just wanted to thank our host, Caitlin Maffeo, for doing a great job guiding us through the relaunch of this. This one was virtual. The next ones will be in person. And also our presenters, Janice Kershaw from the Brevard Schools Foundation, Rachel Rutledge, who is our Director of Career Technical Education, and Rachel Winston, who did a presentation about health education and PE in the county, what the standards are, and what the students get to experience in our PE programs across grade levels from kindergarten through 12th grade. And so great job, everybody. There were more than 90 attendees on that virtual meeting. It was very well done. I got this announcement at an event at one of the schools in my area, but it's actually more of a North End thing, so I just wanted to share this on behalf of St. Francis Reflections, which is one of our PI people. They came to an event at Jupiter, but they're going to be hosting a teddy bear clinic, which is just something to help students who may be afraid of going to the doctor, where you get to bring your teddy bear and you can kind of doctor the teddy bear while they're taking care of you. And so that's going to be this Saturday from 9 to noon at the Children's Center in Titusville. So if anybody up that way would like to, I mean, if you come from the south and you want to drive up to Titusville, go to the teddy bear clinic, go right ahead, but I thought people in that area might like to know. And just lastly, on Friday night, I was able to attend the wonderful showcase of our 3 orchestras that are headed to the National Orchestra Festival next week during spring break, and was really excited to find out that it's even a bigger deal than I thought it was. The National Orchestra Festival is put on by the American String Teachers Association, and there will be a grand champion announced, right? The best high school orchestra in the nation. Well, just to give you a little statistics, I know Dr. Mullins likes to brag about our percentages. There are only 15 high schools from around the country that are participating in this competition for the best high school orchestra in America. And 3 of them are not just from Florida, 3 of them are from Brevard. Exactly, yes. So Mel High, Eau Gallie, and Satellite will be sending their top groups to the National Orchestra Festival, and they can't all win, but I'm telling you, at the concert on Friday night, it was amazing. It was truly amazing. And we'll know by the time we have our next board meeting, we'll know if one of our schools was the grand champion high school orchestra, so I'll definitely report back on the progress of that competition. And but just super proud, and everybody needs to know what great orchestra programs we have across the district, but they were particularly proud of these 3 schools for their achievements this year.
Ms. Campbell, do you happen to know, just because is there any other district in the country that sent 3 of their schools to this competition?
I'm going to say that's a no. I don't know that for a fact, but I'm just going to guess.
I checked.
Percentage-wise, that's probably
Then
next
the
to
odds are pretty good in Brevard's favor. We're bringing home a grand champion.
I checked. There is no other school district. It's only us 3. So I just verified it on Google, and we're good. And I wanted to verify that since there is going to be a grading, right? Eau Gallie, my school, Melbourne, your school, Jenkins got Satellite, we could have a little friendly competition to see who comes out on top. I mean, I'm just saying in the spirit of everything, you know.
I think while we're at it,
because
though,
Eau Gallie is pretty
you're gonna have
tough.
to play
Gotta
an
give them some run.
Well, if we want to have a musical competition, I'm all in.
So am I.
I want to add this really quick just to give everybody an update on our 300-mile walking challenge. Mr. Gibbs is still by far in the lead.
I haven't even updated.
I know. So there's 4 people on this dais that need to kind of, start moving and start recording. But Miss McDougal and I are neck and neck.
Have you checked to make sure that Mr. Gibbs hasn't attached those walking things to his kids?
Maybe to his dog.
The dog, kids?
already.
Uh-huh. I got you, Gibbs. I got you.
Start moving. Start moving.
We work him too hard. You don't have time.
Mr. Susan?
Oh, okay. So anyways, I did want to say thank you for that great introduction to our orchestra program. One of the things you'll notice from all of our school board members is that we all have something that we champion, right? And you're looking at a great organization that cares about individuals from across the district, and Ms. Campbell has routinely always been there for all of our fine arts, and she's done a great job to keeping us up to date. I will tell you that Dr. Mullins and I are not the greatest in playing the fine arts, so we're happy to see that you actually were willing to give those updates to us. Anytime that you want to compete with me, Ms. Campbell, on any of those kind of things, I'm willing to throw myself in for a fundraiser to play any musical instrument to compete against you, just so you know. Anyways, so I did want to give an update. We keep talking about trades tours, and I'm just going to keep pounding it until it's done. So I wanted to let you guys know we went through all the trades tours, and now it's off to the other districts, and they're moving through each one of the schools. But I did want to give you an update as to some of the things that on the tailspin of what's been happening. So Fast MD, the race team that found out about O'Galley and decided that they were going to endorse them, next week at the Sebring Raceway, we'll be going live from the testing and bringing piping into O'Galley High School on a virtual platform. And their race team is going to come bring the race car after the Sebring and come talk to them. And what they're going to do is they're going to tie in, there's a couple parts inside the car. This is pretty cool. There's parts that they need to race that are not developed by the race teams. So they're going to ask O'Galley High School, Bayside, and all the rest of them if they'll develop them and manufacture them. So like seatbelt, race car driver has to get out real quickly when they change race cars, because many people don't know, but at the Rolex races and at the Sebring races, it's a 24-hour and a 14-hour race. So they only race their drivers for 2.5 hours in between. They got to pop out. Well, apparently getting the seatbelt off and all that stuff requires a couple of innovative things. So they're going to bring that along with the car. And I don't know if it's legal, risk management, not to, but I think I got an opportunity for Dr. Mullins to get in the racetrack and run around one of our running tracks. So we'll see how that turns out. I think we should be able to do it. We do prom tracks, right?
Don't over and under deliver. Don't over promise.
Listen, Mullins, I thought about this.
I have a need for speed.
I'm telling you right now, we have people that get in the back of cars and they go around the track, right, during proms and stuff like that. So why wouldn't we be able to take a race car around that thing? And then why wouldn't the superintendent be able to run it? I think it's possible. I think we should do it. Ms. Mullins, you think so? We're good? There it is. Now you're in trouble. She says it's good. All right, so that's Race MD. Steward Health decided that they're going to make an announcement next month, and I'll be a precursor, that they're going to open up a nursing facility a nursing school at their Steward Health Melbourne campus, and they're going to start offering our kids scholarships out of our nursing programs to go directly in there. So kids will be able to go there for free and be able to get their nursing programs. Huge opportunity, and they're going to do a press release in a couple of weeks, but I figure we just jump it right now. The other thing is that Health First, just like you guys knew, they put out over 100 pharmacy techs that they're looking for jobs because of it. BRPH offered internships, and I sit on the executive board of directors for the Economic Development Council, and they have the EDC. I've chaired a thing called the CPT program. That's the Certified Production Technician program, and what that is entry level into manufacturing. So if your sons or daughters, and believe me, daughters are more than likely they're better than the sons at a lot of the CPT and manufacturing. The best welders in our county, just so everybody knows, are women. I'm not going to lie to you. So a lot of our girls that are graduating are actually better welders than our guys. And that's happening at O'Galley. It's happened a couple of years ago at O'Galley. But they have a thing called the CPT program. And I've been chairing it now for 6 years. They're going to open up the scholarships to allow 25 more scholarships. And just so you guys know what that is, a kid graduates or takes the program, they pass 4 major areas. After they're done with that, they're offered a job inside of our manufacturing sector. So a lot of people they use it as an opportunity to see if a kid is serious and get his credentials, and then they offer them. They have an 87% completion rate and job placement rate. So a lot of kids that want a future in manufacturing and get their hands and everything into the trades, here's an opportunity. So the EDC came. So I was really excited. And then my funnest one that I'm really excited about is the HBCA, Home Builders and Contractors, and the ABC are trying to put together a competition to compete against each other for building. So I don't know if you guys know this, but like the Home Builders and Contractors Association, through some organization, we used to take our kids and take them all the way down to like Crystal River and other places and compete against these other schools across the state. But they're boring, okay? Like they're really boring competitions. The kids are staying there for 3 days. So what I said was, let's compete between the schools here in Brevard on framing, on electrical, on plumbing, and all that stuff, and compete and have scores at the end, and I can talk trash to my school board members for their schools, and then we can have a friendly competition. So the Home Builders and Contractors Association, along with the Associated Builders and Contractors Association, have come together to try to create this competition. We'll just figure out if we've got enough time before the end of the year to pull it off. And that is, oh, I forgot, UA Local 295 Plumbers and Pipe Fitters are coming to your Astronaut High School to offer 10 scholarships to get jobs into the trades. And what that is full trades, fully into the union. That is union wages, Kennedy Space Center, all of those. So they're going to come and make that announcement at your high school at Astronaut, Ms. Belford. And what's going to end, that's a huge opportunity because wages out there at Kennedy Space Center are massive. So we have, just so you know, a plumbing program at Astronaut High School that has students that graduate with plumbing certifications, and this is a pipeline to that. So what we're trying to do is create pipelines into the industry during the industry tour, and I can't give any more credit to the staff here and Dr. Mullins for taking this and running with it and creating such a great program. So that's that. And then I had to do one thing. So there's going to be and I don't think it's appropriate to speak about it in a minute, so I'm going to do it now. There's an individual that came here tonight to get a recognition for an organization, and I did want to give her a shout out. And the reason is that a lot of people in this room, a lot of times we do things. This woman was spectacular during a time period when it was absolutely needed for our schools. Many people don't know that when COVID first broke out, we ran out of, the children were sent home, and they were sitting at home, and they had no access, and many parents were not in the certain levels of our economy, their jobs were all shut off. Hairdressers, everybody else. And for us in the O'Galley corridor, through what I call my O'Galley pipeline there's a lot of housing developments and mobile home parks and stuff like that where kids were starving. So we had an application that went through the state successfully, and we were able to do a mobile feed, right? So we had cafeteria workers that were putting, and I'm getting choked up, so I'm trying not to get through this. They were putting together packages to deliver to kids in the O'Galley area that were starving, okay? And one of the individuals that made that happen with the communities and brought them out was Miss Samantha Nazario. Now, not only was she there to do that, but then when we started having a couple of local churches said, you know what, we'll start taking in food drives and stuff like that, Sam says, don't worry about it. I've got it covered. I promise you, people will show up. I'm like, listen, I asked the church and all that stuff, and I am not kidding you. If she ever gets on a project with you, she will come through. Because I had people showing up, and they were bringing stuff I've never seen before. Like, if you ever are in a pandemic, you have to have her phone number because she knows people that bring like 15 pounds of pasta. And I mean, I've never seen loads of food like this before in my entire life, but she did it. And, you know, and I have to give a huge shout out to you for that time period, because not only did you work with me on the feed unit, not only did you work with me on bringing all those people, and I see the faces, right? Your poor mom, she's in here supporting you and everything else. She was part of it. But you guys, like, you are a family, and I really appreciate what you did for our kids. I'm only successful in anything that I ever do because I have individuals like you that actually do it, and I just get to be the cheerleader, and you did it. And you helped save a lot of those kids from hunger and everything throughout our corridor, and I wanted to say thank you from the bottom of my heart for doing that, and thank you so much. What? Sam, you can't cry here. You made me cry. Listen, I'm proud of you, girl. All right? Thank you very much. I'm done. Sorry.
Awesome stuff, Mr. Susan. Thank you. Ms. McDougall?
So I want to tag team with Ms. Jenkins. I also was at Emma Jewell, the Black History celebration. And what she forgot to mention is that from the VPK, the littlest guys, to the sixth graders, every single class did some type of presentation that included the whole school. And the rafters were packed. There was standing room only at Emma Jewell, and it was a wonderful night celebration. So I wanted to also thank Emma Jewell. I also want to give a shout out to Kokina and Principal Lovelace. She was nice enough to show me around her school. I went into some of the classrooms. It's a very, they're working hard there. And it's a great school. I thank you, Principal Lovelace, for having me and showing me around and taking the time. I enjoyed my time with her. And last but not least, I can tag team on what you said about women welders. Today is International Women's Day. So thanks to all the women who have come before and we have wonderful examples for all of our girls in our schools. They can be anything that they want to be. So congratulations and welcome to all of our children and all the women here today for International Women's Day. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Ms. McDougall. Dr. Mullins?
Thank you, Ms. Belford. Just want to give a shout out and a huge thanks to our great staff and our ESC, our Student Services Department. About 2 weeks ago, February 26th, they hosted the 7th Annual START Conference for families and educators, individuals who support those with unique abilities of all ages, not just our school-age kids. They had well over 100 participants in that conference on a Saturday morning over at Vieira High School. 30 agencies came and made presentations and were available to support our community and really come around our students with disabilities. It was a beautiful morning, a great time of support, and a huge shout out to the Interagency Council of Brevard for Individuals with Disabilities who sponsored the entire event. Appreciate them being there and make that possible. So got to give a shout out to a few names here in the organization that helped make it possible. Terry Matson, Renee Rains, Jennifer Jenkins, and Christine Gustafson, different Jennifer Jenkins, in the ESE department. And so that team put the whole conference together, did a wonderful job of supporting our community. So thank you, Terry and team. Ms. Moore, for your team, always being there for our community. And then I want to piggyback Ms. Campbell's announcement about our orchestra teams going on to competition. You know, it is not every district, it's few districts in the state of Florida that have a comprehensive 5th and 6th grade strings program, not just regionally at elementary schools, but Brevard Public Schools is very proud to have a strings program at every elementary school for our kids. And it's there that our kids begin to see and experience and grow their love of orchestra. And so on February 26th, I had the privilege of taking in both the North Central and the Central South Elementary Music Festival, where hundreds of our elementary students came together and sang in chorus. It was absolutely beautiful. Just the spirit in the air of love and coming together. These kids in 4 hours, these are kids from all over the county coming together, and in 4 hours they put together an absolutely beautiful concert. And then we had a concert by our string students in our elementary schools, and then the concert ended with, I don't know, 200 or 300 chorus kids and probably upwards of 100 orchestra kids all performing a song at the end together. It was absolutely beautiful, and it's really a testament of the talent in Brevard. I think I posted online, I said, Brevard's got young talent, and it was very evident that afternoon and evening. So thank you to our amazing music teachers. We've got a little bit of Seminole pride in my house, and my wife reminded me that all 3 orchestra teachers that are going to competition came from Florida State University. Go Seminoles.
Dr. Mullins. Just a few for me. All of us, I think, know Kathy Hamilton Brown. Our audience members probably don't, but she is one of our rock stars, assistant principals at Suntree Elementary. And she reached out to me about a month and a half ago and asked me if I would attend and participate in the Suntree African American Read-In Chain. And I have to tell you, you know that Kathy doesn't do anything without absolute exuberance. And there were the people that turned out to participate in this program at Suntree Elementary were absolutely phenomenal. We had people from all across the community, and they all said the same thing. When Kathy Hamilton Brown calls you and asks you to be someplace, you don't say no. And so they all came out in support of her, but also, of course, in support of the students as well, and had a lovely opportunity to read to a classroom of students. And I think we had probably 30 to 40 volunteers that showed up that day to read. Had some great fellowship beforehand with some breakfast snacks, and took some pictures, and just really it was a phenomenal experience. And so kudos to Kathy Hamilton Brown and the team at Suntree for putting it together, and especially thanks to all the people that took time out of their day to be there to support our students. Also, thank you. Also, Mr. Susan mentioned the CTE tours, and we had a wonderful CTE tour at Space Coast Junior Senior High School, and the impact of these really is significant. And just so you're aware, we were in the HVAC program there, Mr. Susan, and we did have a phenomenal young lady that was just rocking it in her program and had high hopes for the future and where she was going. And we had some community partners that could not have been more excited about connecting with our students and providing opportunities. So, interestingly enough, Bridget, I think, from L3 Harris, was literally almost offering our students binders, like in the classroom. She was sucking them up, and that was when we were in drafting. And then we moved over to HVAC, and they don't have HVAC at her particular L3 Harris location. But she was like, you know what? One of my other locations has welding. And I said, oh, well, you know, this is HVAC and they do some welding in here, but we also have a dedicated welding program at Astronaut High School. And so she said at the time, she's like, you know, I'm so sad that I couldn't bring more of my managers from the other locations with me because they have a big project deadline that they're working on. And I said, oh, don't worry. We'll be happy to arrange a tour just for the L3 Harris team to go and see whatever school you want to see. So great, I think, recognition of the opportunities that our students have in our schools by our community members that are attending these events, and great opportunities for our students to connect and get those real-world opportunities outside of the program. So thank you, Mr. Susan, for kind of getting the ball rolling on those tours, and look forward to continuing to do more of those. And I would say to all of our business community, please look up and see when we're going to be at schools in your area and come and check it out, because it's people have been really, really impressed with what they're seeing. Then I also had the opportunity, and I know I've been on this kick of like community interaction in our schools and support of our schools. I was recruited to do a Junior Achievement Day at Endeavor Elementary, and they literally had, like, I don't even know how many people showed up to do Junior Achievement at Endeavor. And so I got to spend the day with a 6th grade classroom, and phenomenal teacher. If any of you want to see Conscious Discipline in action, I would encourage you. I'll be happy to give you the teacher's name offline. But just amazing interaction with her students from the Conscious Discipline perspective, the relationships that she's built. And it was great to be in the classroom and interacting with the students for the day, and really talking about some cool stuff. And they got it. We had some good conversation. And then the last thing that I'll talk about, some of you may recall the Prom Princess program that was done by Space Coast Association of Realtors a few years ago. They stopped doing the program because they didn't have storage space for the dresses, and the staff at the hotel where they were doing it were not, I guess they had downsized, and so they weren't really capable of providing support anymore either. Through talking with Space Coast Association of Realtors and talking with Dr. Mullins and our facilities folks, we have identified storage space at Gardendale Elementary, at our Gardendale facility, so that we can store the dresses. And they are, last I heard, planning on doing Prom Princess on April 2nd at the Space Coast Association of Realtors facility. So super, super excited for our students to have that opportunity. I am going to need you guys to commit some volunteer time to help set up for the event. So I'll get you more information on that as it goes, but.
Can you explain what that is?
Yes, so Space Coast Association of Realtors for years did this program called Prom Princess. And basically what they did was they took in donations of shoes and dresses, and it wasn't just for girls, they also had male attire. They bring in seamstresses, hairdressers, people to do makeup, and our students can go down and get all of it for free, head to toe, prepped for their prom. Yes, I will. And it's an incredibly heartwarming event to go to and to see just the opportunity that's there and the excitement from our students, you know, who probably otherwise wouldn't have the opportunity to get dresses and tuxes and all of those things. And all of the volunteers, once again, that come around and support the event to make it possible, just really phenomenal. So. They do need donations, yes. So certainly donations of dresses and shoes and jewelry. And if you are a seamstress, if you are good at steaming dresses, if you are a hairdresser, by all means, let us know and we'll get you in touch. So some very cool things. And I think that is all that I have for recognitions this evening. So that is going to bring us to adoption of the agenda. Dr. Mullins.
Ms. Belford and members of the board, on this evening's agenda, we have one resolution, one presentation, 17 consent items, one action item, and one information item.
Do I hear a motion? Moved by Ms. Moved by Ms. Campbell and seconded by Ms. McDougall. Is there any discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign. The motion passes 5-0. Dr. Mullins, will you please let us know about the resolution?
The resolution is for the board to approve the month of March as Hemophilia and Bleeding Disorders Awareness Month. Mr. Brune will read the resolution for us. Mr. Brune?
Good evening, board. Dr. Mullins. Hemophilia and Bleeding Disorders Awareness Month. Whereas hemophilia is a rare disorder in which blood does not clot normally because it lacks sufficient blood clotting proteins, and whereas if a person has hemophilia, they may bleed for a longer period after an injury than a person would if blood clotted normally, causing weakness of the voluntary muscles, and whereas symptoms of hemophilia may include unexplained or excessive bleeding, large or deep bruises, pain in joints, and nosebleeds without a known cause. And whereas the Bleeding Disorders Coalition of Florida is an advocacy organization founded by the Hemophilia Foundation of Greater Florida and the Florida Hemophilia Association to be the voice of the Florida Bleeding Disorders community. And whereas the Bleeding Disorders Coalition of Florida has been serving the bleeding disorders community to improve the quality of life by offering programs and services such as medically supervised camp, scholarships, advocacy efforts, emergency financial assistance, and educational programs to support healthier and more independent lives. Be it resolved on March 8th, 2022, that the Brevard Public School Board does hereby proclaim the month of March as Hemophilia and Bleeding Disorders Awareness Month to bring awareness, education, and support to those who are affected by hemophilia and bleeding disorders in Brevard County and throughout the world. And if you do pass this, I do believe you'll be making some history.
Thank you, Mr. Brune, for that explanation. We appreciate it. All right, board members, do I have a motion?
Move to approve.
Moved by Mr. Susan, seconded by Ms. Campbell. Is there any discussion?
Thankful for the parents and students who have joined us tonight, who represent some of our local students and folks with bleeding disorders. And I know they're a pretty tight-knit group. They have like events and camps and online groups and whatever, so we're glad to be able to support them tonight.
Thank you, Ms. Campbell. Additional discussion?
Did Russell expand on why we're making history tonight? Are you going
We
to do
did
that?
not. I believe that we will be the first school board in the nation to have a proclamation
Sam,
of
is that
this
right?
type.
Good stuff. So, I'm sorry, I will comment, but I just want to make sure I give you guys the opportunity first. Anyone else?
Did we miss anything else, Sam, that we are the best at and number one at in your organization? I'm just checking. Because we like that. We like that. Okay, all right, okay.
Yeah, and so as Mr. Susan alluded to earlier in the meeting, Sam is a mover and a shaker and does so much, and we are so incredibly appreciative of her. But we also want to recognize the individuals who came tonight and supported the resolution. If you guys could just stand for us for a moment. Thank you. Thank you so much for your advocacy, for educating on these important issues. We appreciate you, and we're proud to be able to partner with you on it. Thank you. Yes, I am going to go ahead and call the question because we've not yet voted on the resolution, which we have to do. And then Mr. Susan, I think, is requesting a picture. So all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. And the motion passes 5-0. All right, Board and Dr. Mullins, if we could join them down front for a photo real quick. All right, Dr. Mullins, will you please let us know about the presentation on tonight's agenda?
Yes, Madam Chair. Yes, ma'am.
She will not mess
Mr. Bruin will
around.
take care of it. See, she's
I told
tenacious.
you, she will not mess around. That woman will not let you go. I told you. Good job, Sam. Hold her
All right.
accountable.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Miss April Griffin is here with us this evening from leadership consultant for the Florida School Boards Association to recognize the board for their completion of the Master Board Certification Program. Ms. Griffin?
Is there another award we're giving?
This evening, I'm very pleased to be here.
Hold on just a second, April, we got to get you on mic.
Oh, I saw it rises up, I don't need it to be higher. But you got the short person here today. It's a great honor for me to be here tonight to, on behalf of the Florida School Boards Association, to present you with this plaque recognizing the fact that you have completed the Master Board program. The Master Board program is governance team training for the school board and the superintendent, and it's designed to strengthen the team's ability to work effectively, efficiently, and collectively, all while maintaining focus on student achievement and factors that contribute to the success of your schools. Currently, there are 27 master boards in the state of Florida that hold the distinction, and Carol Cook couldn't be here tonight to present your award, and she's the one that has been doing most of the consulting with you, but she sent a message. She wanted me to tell you that she enjoyed getting to know each of you better, and she hopes that something you worked on will take root and help you become the team your students deserve. And she wanted me to tell you congratulations. So congratulations. I have your plaque, and I'd like to get a picture, if that's okay.
Yeah, let's go.
Thank you, April.
You're welcome.
You guys ready?
Before you try to take off, I just want to make sure the distinction is, we are the most up-to-date board distinction of this honor, right? Master boards. We are the latest master boards in the most recent.
If that's what makes you feel
Thank you, April. Safe travels back. All right, with that, we are going to be at the public comment portion of the meeting on agenda items. We have 3 speakers, therefore each speaker will receive 3 minutes. Please note that the time is per speaker, not per agenda item. Topics not specific to agenda items will be moved to the non-agenda portion of the meeting. We have a clock in front of me to help you keep track of your time. When your time is over, you'll be asked to stop and allow the next speaker his or her turn. Always keep in mind that reasonable decorum is expected, and your statement should be directed to the board chair. The chair may interrupt, warn, or terminate a participant's statement when time is up. It's personally directed, abusive, obscene, or irrelevant. Should an individual not observe proper etiquette, the chair may request the individual to leave the meeting. I'm going to go ahead and call all 3 of our speakers. And if you guys could get on deck on the east side for me. Karen Colby, followed by Sarah Mursky, followed by Katie Delaney.
Yeah, hi, I wanted to talk to you about the Youth Truth Survey. I guess it's 3 minutes, okay. I was concerned about this because when I was reading some of the things that were asked on there, I felt that they were borderline inappropriate.
Ms. Colby, if you could hold for just one moment for
Yes,
me.
ma'am.
So we don't have Youth Truth Survey on the agenda this evening, so I'll be happy to move you to the non-agenda speakers if you'd like.
Okay,
Okay?
thank you.
You're welcome. Ms. Mursky?
I just want to make sure you've got me down for 2 agenda items. One was the proclamation that was just talked about, and then the other one is the policy making. It was about our workshop, which would have to do with the Youth Truth Survey and parental opt-out.
I don't have you down for the proclamation. I have you down for H30, research and evaluation.
What about C? I don't have the agenda in front of me. Oh, thank you. So, let's see here. If you want to go ahead and take the next speaker, and then I'll come after them to get my paperwork together.
Katie Delaney.
Okay. Members of the board, I am here to speak about policy 2605, where it talks about the right of the parent to opt out of any district-level data collection relating to their minor child that is not required by law. I am requesting that this policy, that when different surveys and things like that go out, that the board uses a multifaceted communication system between the school board and the parents. Just because, for instance, the Youth Truth Survey, when that went out, the notification was at the very bottom of an email. Some people got it like the last day of school for Christmas break, and their student had to take it the day that they returned to school. So there was a lot of miscommunication with that. So I would ask that you guys, use social media, send out a text kind of thing out to the parents. And with that, I would also ask that you also send the parental opt-out with that email so that it's easy for parents to just look at it. If they want their child to participate, great. If not, then the opt-out's right there, and, it's quick and easy for parents. Thank you.
Thanks, Ms. Delaney. Ms. Mursky?
Thank you. Just to clarify, I'll be speaking on C8 agenda item and agenda item H30. Do you not have that on my form?
I have H30, and then under complete agenda item title, it says C8, but not on
Yeah.
separate agenda issue. It's fine.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Good evening, Madam Chair and Board. My name is Sarah Mursky. I'm a wife, mother. I'm a student. I'm a registered voter, taxpayer, and constituent of District 2 for school board, and I'm speaking on my own behalf tonight. I wanted to address under C8, which is the Bleeding Disorder Awareness Month, about, it has to do with the Brevard Public Schools and the medical form that has gone out recently to parents.
Ms. Mursky, that has nothing to do with C8. Move on, please.
Okay. Then I want to talk about the H30 agenda item, and what I want to talk about with that is I really appreciate when I was working with Dr. Sullivan, I talked about this in the workshop, about working with parents and going over concerns, and I look forward to the Youth Truth Survey presentation in April and continuing to work with Dr. Sullivan on all of our concerns and our input, as well as being able for parents to opt out, but also for teachers to opt out of that survey as well. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Ms. Mursky. All right, that concludes our agenda item public comment. For those of you who are signed up for non-agenda, know that you will have the opportunity to speak. We just have to get the board's work out of the way, and then we'll take all of the other speakers, okay? That is going to move us into the consent agenda. Dr. Mullins. There are 17 agenda items under this category.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yes, there are 17 agenda items under the consent agenda.
Does any board member wish to pull any item from the consent agenda? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Move to approve.
Moved by Mr. Susan and seconded by Ms. Jenkins. Is there any discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Same sign. Motion passes 5-0. Dr. Mullins, will you please let us know about the item under the action portion of tonight's agenda?
There is one item, A29, to approve procurement solicitations.
Do I hear a motion? Moved by Ms. McDougall, seconded by Ms. Campbell. Is there any discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes 5-0. We'll now move on to the information agenda, which includes items for board review and may be brought back for action at a subsequent meeting. No action will be taken on these items tonight. Dr. Mullins,
There is one item under the information category.
does any board member wish to discuss the information item? Ms. Campbell?
Just wanted to clarify, because I've said it in an email, and I said it this afternoon's workshop, I'm going to say it one more time. Policy 2605 is not about anything that had to do with the Youth Truth Survey. That would fall under something else. Policy 2605 has to do with academic evaluation, progress monitoring, that kind of data. And that there are also some opt-outs on that, which is why we had to add that language. But it's not the other kinds of surveys that we're spoken about this evening. Just wanted to clarify with everyone what that policy is that we will be voting on at our next board meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Campbell, for that clarification. Appreciate it. Mr. Susan?
Ms. Campbell, since you're getting those emails, if there was some of those were requested to identify the policy, if it's not this one, that those fall under. So if you can just send those back to those people, because they were asking me afterwards if I'd just respond to it, that'll help. And then just so that everybody knows, we were talking earlier, and one of the things that we talked about was that any of the surveys or any of the, the way that some of these companies come in and they may be taking any kind of data, that is always identified and upfront for anybody to ask questions about. So they have to form, I think Paul was saying, what was it? It was, what is the form that they have to sign in order to do that?
We have contracts with these vendors that provide progress monitoring, and they have FERPA provisions in there.
So they all have to sign FERPA provisions, and they're contracted to do it. So there's a barrier so that if anybody needed to know any information about them, you could request that. That's all. I just want to let everybody know. Okay.
Anything else on the information item? All right. That is going to bring us to board member reports and discussion points. Do any board members have information or to report or discuss this evening?
I do.
Mr. Susan?
In case anybody else doesn't, though, I'll go last. I'm the only one. So I talked to Dr. Mullins about this earlier, and with the culture of what's happening in our country and what's happening over in Ukraine, our Biden administration is getting ready to move towards possible sanctions on Russian oil. All of the investment companies throughout the United States are starting to cancel off and get rid of all of their holdings in Russia. So what I would like to do is evaluate if any of our investments are inside of or tied to any Russian companies, right? And also to make sure that the oil that we purchase does not have anything to do with it, with Russia in any way, shape, or form. I will tell you that from teaching American history, American government, and being as tied to the veterans in this county, one of the things that it really makes me sad about, and I applaud the Biden administration for get ready to send them back and not accept Russian oil. I would like to say that we would do the same thing. And bipartisan across the board, this is not about Republican or Democrat. This is about democracy against a dictator. And I would hope that the dollars that our taxpayers pay in this county do not go to fund anything that is inside of that curtain. And that was all. So Dr. Mullins said that I would need your recognition to do that. I need board approval because I can't just request that. I'm just looking tonight, and I promise you that the companies and anybody who has investment portfolios is already looking at this. This is not a crazy request, but I would like to know personally if we do, and then we can take action based on how that looks. I'm not demanding that we make action, but let's just make sure for due diligence. By the time we come back, it may already have gone, but I feel like it's our right to do that, and I think that we should do that. That's all. So I'm asking for your approval to make sure that our investment portfolio nor our oil has any ties to Russian companies in any way. That's it.
Is that something that our investment management company can prepare for us in the next couple of weeks, Dr. Mullins, do you think?
I haven't reached out to them. We just spoke about this afternoon. I assume that they would be able to, verify and clarify if any of our investments are affiliated or associated. I don't have any reason to believe that they are, but certainly we would ask and do that research. to determine if that's the case, if that is the direction of the board, as well as we do have vendors that obviously we consume a considerable amount of petroleum through the vehicles that we use and our buses, so we would have to affirm that the vendors we use aren't receiving petroleum or fuel from, if I understand the board's suggested direction at this time, from Russian sources of oil or petroleum. So,
And this goes beyond, for me, goes beyond, just so you know, goes beyond now. We have been consistently and under aggression from this country for a long time, and I feel it is our due diligence to make sure, especially the fact that we have so many kids in our OTC program, so many kids that are a part of what may become the next step. So I am just asking for board, and I think that it's something, I'm not asking for a specific time date because I don't want to create this, get back to us now. But if we can start doing that, I think that they're already probably doing that, that's all. And it's very easy. Just so you guys know, BP just sold off 20% of their holdings because they're taking a stance that no longer are they going to support. And I think we could do the same thing. That's all. I can get board support, and Dr. Mullins could do it.
Anyone opposed to the request that's been put forward? The only thing that I will add to it, Mr. Susan and I support your request for us to gather the information. I want to caution over-promising and under-delivering on that because, you know, we've had conversation in the past about the legal requirements for our investments in the district. We have, like, we are required to make the decisions that garner the greatest return for the district on our investments. And so I think absolutely let's look at it and see what can be done. I want everyone to know that that's not just like a flip the switch and we can do that. We have other legal requirements that we have to work within as well. So, and maybe it'll be a non-issue. Hopefully it'll be a non-issue, but I just think it's important to recognize that limitation.
Yeah, and I applaud you for that. There's always going to be limitations and stuff that we can do. I think that the way the country's moving, by the time that all comes, it won't be, those restrictions may be alleviated. That's all.
Right.
Thank you.
and I would just add, I don't want the public to walk away from this conversation believing that we do have holdings or we are utilizing right now. That's not something I track and monitor. So I'll have to work through our contracts and our vendors to determine exactly what that looks like. So, but I think it's worth verifying for our public and for our taxpayers.
I appreciate you guys' support. If you're watching any of the scenes coming out of there, it's worth it.
Thank you, Mr. Susan.
Ms. Belford? I do have something I want to just discuss and bring up. So just recently this week, it was brought to my attention by many members of the League of Cities and city councils across Brevard. I just want to say a thank you to Senator Debbie Mayfield, to House Representative Altman, and Tyler Soroy. And I just want to heighten awareness to the public. You know, Palm Bay High School is in my district. And we had gone to our delegation to request appropriations for our firefighting program that we're starting there. And it was blocked by one of our local representatives. And I feel like that kind of got swept under the rug. But Senator Mayfield, Representative Altman, Representative Soroy were very displeased with that, begged and pleaded for that not to be the case. And I think it's important for the public and all of Palm Bay and the schools that feed to Palm Bay and the families that access Palm Bay High to be aware that the representative of that district is the one who stopped that from happening. That's not to say we're not going to have the program. We're going to go ahead and do it. But it's frustrating that our taxpayer money wasn't allotted to be funded for that program. And I know that, speaking of Palm Bay City Council members, they are about to hire a ton of firefighters for the city of Palm Bay. They're in desperate need of firefighters, which is why we put that program there. So it's going to be an asset to that community and the students that access that program. So I just think it's important for everyone to be aware, but I also want them to be aware of those representatives that stood by them and spoke up and did the right thing. So thanks.
Thank you. Campbell, did you have something as well?
We have gotten quite a few emails in the last week about, or actually last few days, about book banning And I'm on a social media break right now, so I'm missing some of the drama that I think has been spinning some of the misinformation, but just wanted to take a moment to correct some information. It's my understanding that we have received a short, relatively, list of books to take a look at. We have a statute and we have policy that governs this process. And then on top of that, our media specialists have training of how they're to select the books. There is this particular statute that we've looked at before, and we've looked at our policy 2521 that we just revised, and that just to be clear, and I'll give the statute for anyone who'd like to look at it. It's Florida Statute 847.012. And under that, especially particular Section 5, I'm not going to read the whole thing because actually this is a family-friendly show. But it says an adult may not knowingly distribute to a minor on school property or post on school property in any material described in subsection 3. You can go look that one up yourself. So that it does not apply to the distribution or posting of school-approved instructional materials that by design serve as a major tool for assisting in the instruction of a subject or course by school officers, instructional personnel, administrative personnel, school volunteers, and so forth. So just to be clear, this statute's pretty clear. Now, there's other sections of statute that define, and part of it is this actual statute defines what some of those things are that would not be allowed to be given in school. So that's statute. And we also have policy. And if a book is challenged, we have a policy process. So if people are kind of going to the extremes, which happens, and so that we are going to be going through our processes, but we as a district will follow the law and our policies when it comes to this. I also, though, wanted to say, a couple of months ago, I had someone come to me and had a conversation with them that there were some books that they had a list they were developing of books that had some concern and what would be the best way to go about it. And at the time I said, rather than going school to school to school, why don't you just give us a list and take a look? If there's really something that's against statute, against our policy, we can take care of it. You don't have to go through that. I am not sure why that person chose to wait a couple of months to get, and it wasn't the same person who sent the list, but there's really no good purpose that I can see for holding on to those things. We are going to follow statute. We're going to follow our policies. We're going to work through the process. But this is just something that we need people to. I want to cooperate, and I believe we do. All of us do want to cooperate with the public, and because we want what's best for our children. And so there's been some extremes and some misinformation. I got some emails. People thought we were pulling books based on racial history, and I just took a quick glance at that list of 10 books. I didn't see anything on that list that had to do with anything that would be historical. Or had anything to do with race. Most of it specifically had to do with things that would be in this particular statute, which I'll let everybody read on their own. So I just wanted to clarify that for us, for people in the public who might be listening or in the audience tonight. So there you go. Trying to keep it clean.
Thank you, Ms. Campbell. I appreciate the grace with which you waded through that, and for not going into detail on the statute language. Appreciate that.
And just to follow that up, I was talking to Dr. Mullins about this today, and you can search through our database of our schools, all of the books that are inside there. And I was speaking to a school board member last night, actually, in Tallahassee, and she was mentioning that they have a unique program where you can search for the books, and if your kid goes to that school, you can opt out right there from that book. So the individual can opt out. So there's other options besides not only that, but actually putting those in place too. So that's all.
I'm going to ask, I'm getting lots of noise, and I think it's directly in front of me. If you could please make sure that we're not hearing you over everything else, that would be great. Thank you, Mr. Sousa, for that recognition of some other options that may exist. All right, any other board member discussion points? Dr. Mullins, do you have any discussion points? All right, that is going to take us into our non-agenda speakers. Each speaker is limited to 1 minute. We have a clock in front of me to help you keep track of your time. When your time is over, you will be asked to stop and allow the next speaker his or her turn. We'll hear from the speakers in the order in which they signed up, including those who may be waiting outside. As stated earlier, reasonable decorum is expected at all times, and your statement should be directed to the board chair. Should audience participation interfere with speakers being heard or hearing me, I'll be forced to clear the room. When I call your name, please line up along the east wall of the boardroom to facilitate the smooth transition of speakers. We'll begin with our first 3 speakers, Avalon Strafford, Fred Kilgallen, and Karen Colby. Whenever you're ready, Avalon.
Good evening. I'm here tonight to let you know that it seems my safety as a straight female does not matter to a few of you. I have friends that are part of the inclusive community, including non-binary and trans, yet their safety and comfort seems more important to you. Part of your job is to keep every student safe, yes, including the straight students. Since you are all about science, why are you allowing biological boys in girls' bathrooms and locker rooms and vice versa? It was stated by a board member that the inclusive community will always exist. Well, I am here tonight to let you know that the straight community will always exist as well. And we deserve to always feel safe on school property at all times. Since a few of you do not have safety of all students in mind and lack of common sense, I'm demanding the following board members to quit immediately. Jennifer Jenkins.
Avalon, I'm going to have to stop you. So everything's directed at me, not at individual board members, okay? You've got roughly a second left, though.
Chair McDougall and Mr. Belford, you are not going to stomp on our First Amendment rights.
All right, I need you to step away. Mr. Kilgallen.
Good evening. My name is Fred Kilgallen. I'm here with Families for Safe Schools and want to address what was just spoken about earlier with the books in schools. And we appreciate that there is a way to let individual parents choose what their child may or may not see in school. We think that's probably the best approach, and we stand ready to help implement that if you need or want our help for it. I would urge you not to let adult discomfort, however, be the criteria for choosing which books get pulled and which books do not. Just because it's a description of sex doesn't necessarily make it pornographic. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Kilgallen. As Karen's approaching, our next 3 speakers will be Nancy Reagan, Jody Hand, and Katie Delaney.
Do I have 2 subjects? Because I didn't talk on the other one.
You have 1 minute for
Gotcha.
however many subjects you want to cover.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, one of my subjects had to do with the proms and the senior activities to please be allowed to continue. And some schools aren't able to accomplish this. So I'm here to ask, please, can we help some of the schools who can't get it together for this year? Because it's kind of not fair to those seniors when other schools have accomplished the task. So I'm just going to speak on this. I'm willing to help if they need help with project graduations, if they need help with organizing proms. I can find volunteers to help. I don't think it's fair for some high schools to not have a prom. Like, let's take Melhigh, for example. Their basketball team has to pick between going to their senior prom or playing one of their last games. That involves the cheerleaders and the band. I would like to specifically please reach out to Melhigh and try to find them a venue that will accommodate a weekend event. They said all they could find was Thursday. If we could please help, I'll forget whatever else I was going to speak about. It was complimentary. Thank you.
Feel free to reach out to the school, Karen, and see if there's anything you can do to help, okay?
The principal's not interested.
Okay. Nancy Reagan?
Hi, my name is Heather, and I have a daughter in 8th grade at Delora Middle School. She's being racially bullied, and the administration has failed her. January 12th, she was called the N-word in PE. This is in District 3. She was called the N-word in PE. Another boy said it looks like she's got birds in her hair, and another boy said she has messy hair, and she texted me right away. And I called the school, and Mr. Cook says, "Oh, ha ha, where did these boys come from?" I said, "From their racist parents." So a no contact rule was set in place for the 3 boys. It was broken. I've got a screenshot that it was broken. This was January 12th. Today, my daughter's grades are slipping. She eats lunch alone. All her friends have outcasted her because they said she is causing the problem at school by telling the truth.
Thank you for joining us.
Yeah. Ms. Sullivan?
Either one. Dr. Theddy, could you get contact information on that for me, please?
And she did reach out to Dr. McKinnon, just letting you know.
And then Ms. Moore stood up too.
Miss Reagan, Miss Moore's behind you. She'll talk to you.
The lady who's walking in the back.
All right, Jody Hand.
Can you clarify that that's not Dr. McKinnon's role? Please.
Hi, thank you for your time today. I'm here on behalf of Moms for Liberty in Brevard County. To clear the air, Moms for Liberty has no desire to ban books. Should we wish to ban books, we would be attacking publishers, not the school board. Our mission is to ensure all of the reading available in the libraries is age appropriate. That is all we're asking for. Some of you may know the book Genderqueer was in our school libraries. Had Moms for Liberty not brought that book to your attention, it might still be there. There are many other books that follow in the same pattern, which is why this list has been sent to you. It is just the beginning. There are many more books that are inappropriate, whether they be age appropriate or inappropriate for any age level. Pornography is not acceptable on any level, and I'm not sure who thinks the description of sex in any way, shape, or form is appropriate. Thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you, Jody. Ms. Delaney. As she's approaching, our next 3 speakers will be Michael Bloom, Wyatt Stumbo, and then Jabari Hosey.
I am here to speak with you all again about the changes to your public comment policy. Tonight, you heard from a student of yours, and she didn't even get to finish her speech because of your policy changes. We had a mother fighting for her multiracial child who's getting bullied at school, and she had a minute to speak with you. And that was her last recourse here. She has reached out to her school board member who's not even paying attention. She has reached out to Dr. McKinnon. And they basically have said, well, what support? What support do you need? And this is wrong.
That is inaccurate.
This is wrong. It's not inaccurate. I have the emails.
Ms. Delaney, are you done, or are you have 8
Public
seconds?
Public input is important, and we do not have enough time to tell you our grievances. It's our First Amendment right.
Hold your applause, please. Michael Bloom. You waving, Michael? Wyatt Stumbo.
Or missed any chance of a 1-minute extension to this. It's about school hour comparatives to our private schools that our kids are getting educated. It's a lot of data, and if I rush through it, it's just going to be confusing.
Yeah, unfortunately, I can't give you an extension, but I'll be happy to get with you offline if you want to wait and talk to me after the meeting, or if you want to send data, I can.
I'll hang out afterwards. All right, here we go. So between February 6th and March 11th, the 5 weeks of school period, our kids have 4 full days and 3 early releases. Being a working parent, my wife stays home. She told me, oh yeah, they're off Friday, they're off Monday. How are we off 4 out of 5 weeks? We have 4-day weeks. Doesn't make sense to me. So I looked at her calendar thinking there's got to be a mistake, and then I realized no, the calendar's correct. We aren't filling days that we had potential to fill. So before we came back to this area, we checked out Calvary Chapel Academy. And so they have a different schedule. And what I did is compared in-school hours versus schools. Calvary Chapel will educate their kids. We'll have them in school roughly an extra 133 hours which is equivalent to my kids at Longleaf, 5 full weeks in school. Their kids get our stuff. So I think we should evaluate our early release days. We need to evaluate how many weeks we can have in a 5-week period where they do 4-day weeks.
Thanks,
And that's what I'd
Wyatt.
like to talk about.
Jabari Hosey, and as Jabari is approaching, Aaron Dunn, Laura and Nicolette Figueroa, and then Karen Colby. Mr. Hosey, whenever you're ready, sir.
All right, hi. My name is Jabari Hosey. I'm speaking on behalf of Families for Safe Schools, and I'm here to speak on book banning. Not that book banning is coming to our district, but the influence from the outside to implement such activity is. I'm asking that the district holds firm with their current policies and procedures and strengthens them to prepare for such activity, and that we continue to follow these procedures as when many spoke on masks infringing on parental rights and choosing what they have the right over their kids wearing a mask. I don't want their home beliefs to infringe on what my kids read in order to become a well-rounded human. That learning from history, so it's not repeated, learning about the people that are around them and how they interact with them respectfully. If certain people fear these books, then go and read another book as an alternate assignment. If you fear your child will check out a book from a library that you don't feel is appropriate, opt your student out and they cannot check that library book out. But please don't try and force your children, my children, our children, to follow what is deemed best for your household.
Thank you, Mr. Hosey.
Thank
we
you.
appreciate you. Aaron Dunn? Oh, yep, you're right. Thank you. Campbell?
Every child in Brevard Public Schools deserves to see themselves represented in the books in our school libraries. Every LGBTQ child, every Black and brown child, every child deserves to read about families like theirs in books as well. Children must know that the diversity they bring to our schools is not just tolerated, but celebrated. And not only our students, but our school staff as well feel free to be their true, best, authentic selves in an environment free of hate and discrimination. As a school board, your primary focus should be putting books into the hands of children, not taking them away. When books in our libraries are threatened, I believe that you will make decisions that keep all of our children represented. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Dunn. Ms. Colby, I apologize. I had written your name on the list, not realizing that you already signed up on the non-agenda, so you won't get another one, okay? Thanks. Lara and Nicolette, are you both speaking, or are you? Okay. Yeah. Nicolette, whenever you are ready.
All right. Hello, my name is Nicolette. I am a junior at O'Galley High. I'm with SWAT, or Students Working Against Tobacco. We are empowered students fighting against nicotine addiction. Today, I will address the school vaping crisis and the opportunity you have to protect youth from the detrimental effects of nicotine. As board members who support mental health, social, and academic success, I know that you care about this issue. Nicotine harms part of the brain responsible for learning, memory, impulse control, and mental health. 1 in 6 Brevard youth ages 11 to 17 vape or use another toxic tobacco product, and 1 in 15 vape on school property. A common response to this is suspension or expulsion. However, research shows that this does not help kids quit and may actually increase the likelihood of nicotine use within a year. A local 8th grader said the following about suspension. It made me want to do it more because I didn't have much else to do. The same student was provided education and resources that helped them quit. Consider this. What if instead of suspension, students were given the opportunity to stay in school with tobacco education and direct support to help them quit?
Thank you, Nicolette. We appreciate you joining us. Great work. All right. Anyone have anything else before I gavel us out for the evening?
Yeah, I feel the need to clarify. So there was a statement made by somebody in the public that I was reached out to about a racial issue, and that is a completely false statement. It is a school in my district. It's a school that my husband works at. It's a school that I'm closely speaking with the principal on a regular basis. And so for that parent, if they want to reach out to me, absolutely, I am your advocate, and I will absolutely do that for you. but I'm not going to be quiet when people make false statements. Thank you.
Anyone else have anything else? All right, hearing no further business, this meeting is adjourned.